Yo, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of the Swiss. Can't tell you how we did on Friday night yet because the Mariners game is still on right now. It's 2-2 in the seventh, and the Mariners was a full unit bet of the day. The other top bet was the Mets. That hit, but we have some losses in there too. So it's going to be close to break even. If I had to guess, if the Mariners win, it'll be a green day. If they lose, it'll be a red day. That's my guess, but I haven't added it up yet. I'll put it on the screen. Anyway, Saturday MLB. 15 games. Let's go.
Welcome to the source. The source. Source. Hey, get the source.
First up, Detroit at Minnesota. Joey Wentz pitching against Brent Hedrick. Don't know who that is. Twins open up as minus 200 favorites. No total open yet. And obviously we can't use the model because I don't have any pitcher data in for this Hedrick character. So Joey Wentz is pitching, and this dude's numbers on the road are just insane. He's made 5 road starts this year. He's got an 8.72 ERA, a 189 WHIP, and a 7.43 FIP. Just wow. Truly terrible numbers here. I really don't know how you could possibly back this guy on the road. And it gets even worse if you look at who his opponents were in those 5 road starts too. The Phillies, they don't hit lefties. The Nats, Guardians, they definitely don't hit lefties. The Orioles, they're not hitting lefties this year. And the Rays, that's a legitimate one. But my man Joey Wentz is getting rocked by lineups that don't even hit left-handed pitching. And that's kind of what we're dealing with in this matchup because the Twins haven't really hit lefties this year either. Here's their OPS versus lefties over the course of the season in 2-week segments. You can see they are trending upwards. Still not where they need to be at all, as you can see. In the last 14 days, still 21st in OPS. But considering they've played the last 2 weeks without Buxton in the lineup and their numbers against lefties are still going up, they're going up slow, but they are still going up. I think that's a positive thing. That's a positive takeaway for Twins fans, in my opinion. So I like the Twins bats to get the Wentz here. The problem is I just don't know enough about this kid Hedrick to really put a bet on the Twins. It's difficult to predict, especially the Tigers against lefties. They have a roller coaster of numbers here. Take a look at the Detroit Tigers season against left-handed pitching. They were absolutely terrible. The worst lineup in baseball against lefties to start the season. Then they got red hot in late April. Then they were terrible again. Now they're actually hot. In the last 14 days, they're second in WRC plus against lefties. Only like 46 plate appearances, but still, it's just really tough to make a prediction when I don't know much about the pitcher and you got a Detroit lineup against lefties that's just a roller coaster. This is most likely a pass for me. I may look at the Twins team total over when it opens and just straight up fade Joey Wentz. I'll let you know on the live show tomorrow at 11 a.m. next game. O's at Cubs. Kyle Gibson pitching against Justin Steele. Justin Steele's back from injury. Cubs open up as minus 140 favorites. Total opens up at 7.5. Let's take a quick look at the spreadsheet. We got to lean on Baltimore here. 2-0 O's after 5 innings. Final score, 9-inning score, 4-1 Orioles. So like I said, Justin Steele back from injury, pitching at home. Here's a chart of Justin Steele's last 10 starts. You can see his ERA over 4 in 3 of his last four full starts. I didn't include the game where he got hurt because he came out in the 3rd inning or something like that. The ERA is the blue line in this chart. So yeah, Steele was definitely giving up more runs in his last handful of starts than he was early in the season. But look at the FIP. That's the white line. Notice that the FIP is actually moving down. That would indicate that he had some bad luck in those games, specifically the May 16th and the May 26th starts. He had some bad luck to give up all those runs. Another thing to keep in mind here, this is Justin Steele in Wrigley Field. He's been so good at home this year. He's been a bet on pitcher at home in Wrigley Field the whole season. He got hit up real bad once by the Reds, and so that's skewing the numbers a little bit. But even with that Red start in there, 2.43 ERA and a 2.58 FIP. Still solid numbers, and that's with that terrible start in. In reality, he's been much better than those numbers even indicate. And then on top of that, we're talking about the Orioles bats versus lefties. This isn't 2022. Baltimore's not hitting lefties. This is disappointing. As you can see here, in the last 30 days, Baltimore's sitting at 23rd in OPS and WRC plus versus lefties after crushing left-handed pitching in the second half of last season and then crushing left-handed pitching to start this season off. These numbers in the last 30 days are definitely disappointing for the O's. Now, injuries probably play a part in this. Cedric Mullins going down a few weeks ago certainly doesn't help their offensive production. And now Ryan Mountcastle goes down about a week and a half ago. And that's particularly huge in a matchup like this, If you look at Mountcastle's numbers on the year, you might be like, that's not that huge of a loss. These numbers aren't great. But look at his righty-lefty splits. He's the lefty killer in Baltimore's lineup. He leads Baltimore in average, slugging percentage, and OPS against left-handed pitching this season. So you got an Orioles lineup that's already struggling to hit lefties, and then they lose their best offensive piece against lefties. I just don't see things improving for Baltimore anytime soon. Now, Kyle Gibson's pitching here for Baltimore, and he's got some roller coaster numbers as well. Here are his 8 road starts this season. The orange dots are his ERA, and you can just see the up and down production here as far as earned runs goes. But again, just like the last chart, look at the white dots. That's his FIP. Shows that he had some good luck in the May 19th and May 25th starts against the Yankees and Blue Jays. And it also shows us he had some really bad luck against the Royals and Tigers. So basically what this is showing us is he's been a little more consistent than his numbers indicate. He's pretty much a 4.00 ERA pitcher on the road. I think we can handicap him as such. But personally, I don't think that's going to be enough. I mean, with the Cubs offense just exploding recently, Cubs have now scored 38 runs in their last 4 games. This offense woke up in a hurry. The only angle I could see for Baltimore is if you don't trust Justin Steele returning from injury, but he only missed 2.5 weeks, something like that. He wasn't out for very long, so I'm down to lay the juice with this. I'm taking the Cubbies. Give me Chicago money line -130 next game. Marlins at Nats. Braxton Garrett pitching against Jake Irvin. Miami opens up as -162 favorites. Total opens up at 9. Let's take a quick look at the spreadsheet. According to the model, we're looking at 5-0 Fish after 5 innings. Final score 7-0 Fish. Heavy lean on Miami. Well, it's Jake Irvin day, which means we got to look at Prop Beaver's trend. He called this. It's still rolling, this trend. He said on May 19th is when he said this. He said, whenever Jake Irvin pitches, we just need to blindly take his opponent's team total over. And so far that's worked out. Nats opponents in Irvin's last 5 starts, 8 runs, 8 runs, 8 runs, 9 runs, 10 runs. Here's Jake Irvin's production over the course of his 7 starts this season. And you can see, even in the first 2 starts when his numbers look good, his FIP was way higher than his ERA, indicating that he had some good luck. My chart cuts off at 10.00, so a lot of these numbers don't even fit on. He's truly been getting rocked, man. I'm a little scared of the trend, though. I'm a little worried about blindly betting a Marlins lineup against right-handed pitching right now. They're back to where they were in the start of the season. You can see they got hot at the end of May. If you remember, they were top 10 in a lot of numbers at the end of May. They had a team OPS against righties north of 750 for a couple weeks. But they've been declining the entire month of June. I mean, here are their numbers from the last 7 days against righties. They've just completely fallen off. 25th in OPS, 25th in WRC+. Luckily, the total for this game is 9. The team total isn't open yet, but the total's opened up at 9. And with the Marlins as -155 favorites, that should mean we're able to get the Marlins team total over 4.5 at a good price when it opens. So I think I'm still down to ride the trend. On the other side, you got Braxton Garrett throwing, and he's been good as hell on the road this year. A 2.29 ERA, a 1.13 WHIP, 2.49 FIP. Those are really good numbers. And he had one terrible start in Arizona probably about 5-6 weeks ago. If it wasn't for that start, these numbers would be even better. I am definitely not a believer in the Washington Bats right now. I know they've shown some signs of life in the Houston series, and then the game that just happened, they lost. I think the final score was 6-5 Marlins, so they scored some runs. I'm not a believer. So I'm either taking the Marlins team total over, or I might even just lay the 1.5 with the Marlins. I'll let you know on the live show tomorrow, 11 a.m. Next game. Blue Jays at Rangers. Trevor Richards, which I believe is a bullpen arm, is pitching against Dane Dunning. Toronto opens up as -120 favorites. Total opens up at 9.5. Let's take a quick look at the spreadsheet. According to the model, we're looking at 4-3 Jays after 5 innings. Final score 6-5 Jays. But whenever it's a bullpen day, you got to take my model with a grain of salt, because my model's built to use the starting pitcher's numbers for the first 5 innings and then the bullpen numbers for 6 through 9. So on a bullpen day, that just gets completely scrambled. So right now, that my model is telling you Trevor Richards numbers for the first 5 innings, and there's no way he's going to throw 5 innings. So whatever, take it with a grain of salt. So Dane Dunning's on the mound for Texas, another guy where we've seen quite a dip in production recently. You can see here his last 3 starts much different than the previous 4. What's even more surprising is the most recent 2 were at home. June 6th versus the Cards and last week versus the Angels. 2 bad home starts. Dating back multiple years, Dane Dunning's always been a guy that I've been comfortable betting at home. He always has favorable home away splits. He's always pitched well in Texas. But we're looking at back-to-back shaky home starts. And you can see his FIP numbers right up there with his ERA. So he's really not pitching well. He can't blame it on any bad luck. Definitely puts us in a tough spot here because he's pitching against Toronto. And here are the Blue Jays numbers against right-handed pitching in the last 14 days. And that's pretty par for the course for them. When it comes to this Toronto lineup, they hit righties. They always hit righties. Even when they're losing games, they're still hitting righties. In fact, 10th in OPS and 10th in WRC plus is actually kind of low for them. Usually they're right in the top 5 or just outside of it. Now it gets even more worrisome when you look at the Blue Jays offensive numbers on the road in the last 30 days. Second in OPS, first in WRC plus. You can pretty much say this has been the best road lineup in baseball for over a month now, probably 5 or 6 weeks. Combine that with the recent spike in Dane Dunny's production, and I think this might be a sneaky spot to back the Jays in a bullpen day, honestly. The problem is those kind of games are so tough to bet because it's so tough to predict which pitchers are coming in. But that being said, the Toronto Blue Jays bullpen has been pretty solid here. Their numbers in the last 14 days. I know the ERA and WOBA numbers aren't the greatest, but a 1.17 whip and a 3.90 FIP is definitely solid. Respectable numbers. Look, I know it's the Rangers at home coming off a loss. It's definitely tempting. But I'm going with the Blue Jays here. Give me the Toronto money line. I'll let you know for sure what I do on the live show, but I'd say 95% I'm betting the Blue Jays here. Next game. Phillies at A's. Christopher Sanchez, which I believe we're looking at a bullpen day for Philly. Pitching against my man James Kapp. Philly opens up as heavy favorites here, minus 280. Total opens up at 9. Like I said, looking like a bullpen day for Philly. I'm skipping this one for now because I don't know if it's a true bullpen day or if the Phillies are going to name a primary pitcher to come in the second or third inning. So I might have a bet for this one on the live show tomorrow at 11 a.m., but I got nothing for right now. Next. Angels at Royals. Griffin Canning pitching against Carlos Hernandez. Angels open up as minus 185 favorites. No total open up in this one. Let's take a quick look at the spreadsheet. According to the model, we're looking at 2-1 Angels after 5 innings. Final score 4-1 Angels. Easy one here. Angels are pass. I won't bet Kansas City. Another suspect line. This is becoming a pattern. For some reason, odds makers seem intent on giving away free money with these Royals prices. Feels like at least 3 or 4 games a week. The sharp play is definitely Kansas City. They're giving us these suspect lines, and the sharp side of my brain is saying bet the Royals. But I took two losses betting the Royals last week. This is probably the worst team in baseball right now. I mean, I don't get it. I don't know what the odds makers are seeing, honestly. I'll probably bet the Angels, but I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I'll let you know on the live show. Next game. Cardinals at Mets. Adam Wainwright pitching against Kodai Senga. Mets open up as minus 155 favorites here. Total opens up at 9. Let's take a quick look at the spreadsheet. No lean at all on a side. We're looking at 2-2 tied after 5 innings. 9 innings, 4-4 tie. Well, we all know that Adam Wainwright doesn't seem to have it this year. That's not really breaking news. But when you isolate it to just his road starts, his numbers get even worse. 6.75 ERA and a 5.59 FIP. That is not good, man. Adam Wainwright is just not an arm we can trust right now. He hasn't posted a game score of 50 or above once this entire season. And he's pitching on the road in Citi Field against this Mets lineup where I know the Mets have had their problems, certainly. But the bats are still respectable. This chart shows the Mets' OPS numbers in 10-day segments against right-handed pitching this season. Yeah, the very end of May into the first week of June, definitely a rocky time for the Mets. Definitely a dip. But look at the last week and a half. Team OPS back up over 700. It's actually the 3rd highest segment of the entire season so far. I truly think we can count on the Mets bats to scrape some runs across on Adam Wainwright here. And with Kodai Senga on the mound, I'm pretty comfortable fading this Cards team again. Look at Kodai Senga's numbers at home this year. 1.93 ERA, 3.31 FIP. He's been solid as hell in Citi Field this whole season. Also, he looked excellent in his last start, and that was on the road. Actually, that was probably his best start of the season. I forget. I don't have it in front of me, but he went 7 innings, 3 hits or something on the road in his last start, and he was great. Looks like he figured something out. Definitely has a better grasp of his command, or at least seems like it right now. Look, St. Louis is just 3-13 in their last 16 games, and they're averaging just 2.9 runs per game in that span. The Cards are slumping so hard. I'm on the Mets here. I'm not sure how I'm going to bet them yet because I don't love that minus 150 price. I don't want to lay the run and a half, but 155 is just minus 150, minus 155 is just too pricey. I might do some kind of same game parlay, Maybe use the Mets money line and parlay it with another favorite that I like. Definitely on the Mets, though. I'll let you know tomorrow. Next game. White Sox at Mariners. Lucas Giolito pitching against Logan Gilbert. Seattle opens up as minus 165 favorites. Total opens up at 7.5. Let's take a quick look at the spreadsheet. And according to the model, heavy lean on the under. We're looking at 2-1 Mariners after 5 innings, 9-inning score, 2-2. All right, so when you look at Lucas Giolito's game logs, you might look at those last 2 games, right? He pitched 2 gems, coming off back-to-back gems. And you might think those are the outliers in his numbers. But if you lay out Giolito's last 10 starts all in a row, actually the 2 outliers were the 2 bad starts before that against the Tigers and Angels. He's been pretty solid. Yes, I know that he doesn't have the greatest career history against Seattle. In fact, he's made 2 starts against the Mariners in his career. Both were bad. But they were in 2019 and 2021. So 2 years ago and 4 years ago. I don't know how seriously I take something that happened 4 years ago. I don't know if I really take those numbers seriously. Some numbers I do take seriously, though, are Giolito's home away splits. You don't really see it in the ERA. 2.47 to 3.78 isn't crazy, but look at the WOBA and WHIP numbers. Definitely a drop off in production when Giolito pitches on the road. And he's not just on the road, he's on the road in Seattle against a Mariners lineup that seems to have found its stride in the last week. On the last 7 days against right-handed pitching, 9th in OPS, 7th in WRC+, definitely way better than what the Mariners were doing 2-3 weeks ago. Yeah, the 215 average is a little concerning, but the power numbers have definitely been there. I think the Mariners score runs on Giolito in this one. On the other side, we got Logan Gilbert, and I don't really even know what I think of Gilbert right now. Tough pitcher to handicap. If you look at his 5 home starts, it's just up and down, like such extreme variance here. You got a great start against Cleveland, awful start against Milwaukee, great starts against Texas and Oakland. Then he follows that up with an absolutely terrible start against the Yankees. I mean, like I said, such a crazy amount of variance. That being said, I do think this is a good bounce back spot for Logan Gilbert. Not only is he coming off a terrible start, not only is he back at home, but he has had success pitching against this White Sox team. He started 2 games against the White Sox last year, 2 starts. He went 2-0, 11 innings pitched, 0 earned runs. Didn't allow a single earned run in both his starts against the White Sox last year, so I'd say that's pretty solid. White Sox do have their bullpen back, though, and the White Sox bullpen has been really good. The reason I bet Seattle last night was because that bullpen was taxed, but they all had the day off. The White Sox didn't have the day off, obviously. I'm saying all those tired arms, none of them pitched. So at minus 150, I don't know how crazy I am to play Seattle on the full game because I think the second half of the game, White Sox have the advantage. But Seattle first 5 minus a half run at minus 105. I'm eyeing that up. Just straight up bet Gilbert versus Gio in Seattle. I like that matchup in favor of Gilbert. So give me the Seattle first 5 run line at minus 105. Next game. Pirates at Brewers. Mitch Keller pitching against Wade Miley. Brewers open up as very slight favorites here, minus 115. Total opens up at 8. I'm skipping this one for now. I might have a bet for this one on the live show, but I don't know. Just the pitching matchup is too weird for me. You got Wade Miley. He's making his first start in over a month. A little bit of unpredictability there. And I just have no idea how to handicap Mitch Keller right now. Like, does he suck? He's really struggling. Doesn't look like himself at all. So I don't think I'm going to bet this game. Next. Rockies at Braves. Bryce Elder pitching against Connor Seabold. Connor Goatbold, I'm calling him now. He looks good. We'll get into it. Atlanta opens up at minus 305 favorites. Total opens up at 9. Let's take a quick look at the spreadsheet. According to the model, obviously it's a lean on the Braves. 5-2 Atlanta after 5 innings, 7-2 Atlanta final score. Now, obviously, we look at this game and we immediately want to bet Atlanta. Doesn't exactly take a data scientist to figure that one out. But be careful here, because Connor Seabold's on the mound, and look at his numbers from his 4 starts away from Coors Field. 3.60 ERA, 4.03 FIP. Those are serviceable numbers, and they're skewed because he had 1 bad start in Texas. His other 3 road starts were excellent. And Bryce Elder's on the mound for the Braves. Remember, we've been saying on this channel all year, because Bryce Elder was looking dominant. We kept saying, like, yo, his FIP numbers don't line up. There's negative regression coming. And we kept saying it. Well, we're seeing it. It's finally happening. This dude has gotten rocked in 2 straight starts. Both of these starts were at home. He got hit up bad by both the Mets and the Nats in Atlanta. I don't even need to go into the numbers as far as the bats and the bullpen. You know the Braves lineup is way better than the Rockies. You don't need me to tell you that. And you know the Braves bullpen is way better than the Rockies bullpen as well. You don't need me to tell you that either. That being said, at this huge price, I think this is a decent spot to take a shot on Colorado. So for this video, I'll say Rockies plus 1.5 at plus 128. But I honestly am considering taking the money line or maybe the first 5 money line. I'm on Colorado here, just not 100% sure I'm going to bet it. Let you know on the live show. Next game. Actually, there is no next game. I'm out of time. It's after 1 a.m. Actually, damn, it's 1:30 already. Prop Beaver's not working tonight. His friend is in town from college, or I don't even know what he said. He asked if he can go hang out with his friends tonight. So I had to make this video myself. Obviously, live show, 11 a.m. We'll go through all 15 games like we always do. I know Toast is going to be on the show, and I think Prop Beaver said he's working tomorrow morning, so it should be the 3 of us. 11 a.m. if you're able to make it. Would love to see you in the comments. If anything changes with the bets I gave out in this video, I'll let you know on Twitter, so give me a follow there if you're interested. And if you want the final tickets we put out, which has every single final bet we're placing, how much we're placing on each bet, or how heavy we're betting each, top bets, parlay of the day, that kind of stuff, head over to KyleKirms.com.